Hey, welcome to our Friday podcast there. How you doing out there today? Good? Good?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm solid.
We
Great.
got to bring it up. Active shooter. Like,
Legit.
can we not talk about that? Right down the road, it's a guy, right?
I don't know.
Somebody goes
Doesn't know.
into a store, like, right there, and goes, shoots two people, and the helicopters are flying around looking for them. It's like,
Currently,
currently,
while we're filming this.
while we're doing this, yeah.
Yeah.
But Doug's got us covered, so it's all good.
People are in critical condition. Hopefully they'll be good, and hopefully they'll capture the shooter. Hats off to the police department. Look at that, like PR stuff. Like, hats off to the police department.
Oh, man. So if you hear shots, we may have to go, but Doug's got us covered there. We want to talk about retirement planning for beginners out there because it's, I was talking to my daughter about this. It's not a really interesting topic. And if you're older and you're beginning to save for retirement, it's because you have to. You're like, oh, I got to do something. I'm getting older, whatever. But if you're younger, it's like, what is it? I don't even know what it is. There's so many steps to it. So we want to cover a few things here today to get you up and running and make you feel good about it, huh?
Yeah, I think the idea of retirement planning, you can be saving for retirement, but have you really figured out any kind of plan, what life will look like, how much you need to save, or are you just kind of throwing things against the wall? Because even if you're in your 50s, some people have just always saved. I mean, There's people that have contacted us. They're just like, I'm retiring. And we're like, okay, we'll do the plan. And we do the plan and it just works. And they're like, yeah, we just kind of always saved. Now, maybe we could have tweaked some things for them and helped them along the way, but it worked out, but not for everybody.
No,
I mean, a lot of people
rare.
are making the mistake of, they're doing one thing instead of another, not saving enough. I mean, we've even talked, some people save too much.
Yeah, well, actually, I have one lady right now that she wants to buy another property and eventually move and kind of downsize. And it's like, she's asking me for the optimum way to do it. And I'm like, you did it. You're there. You earned it. Like, you want to do it now? You want to well, when should I buy the house? I'm like, I almost feel bad because I'm like, if you find one, you can buy it. Well, it's just, I don't know it. Well, okay. It's so cool to be in that position. So
Yeah.
we got to get started somewhere, and we're going to go over a few things here today. My first thing I want to talk about is sort of general, but I never looked at retirement planning as just retirement. And just like I didn't look at college planning for my daughter as only for college. I hate that. I don't want to be stuck in one direction. So anytime I was looking to get started, I was thinking, okay, if I use like a Roth IRA, for example, if I use that, that's retirement, but it gives me the flexibility. I can take the money out. You're telling me I can go buy a house if I want to. So it kind of excited me to really oversave. And honestly, at the time, I didn't know what my number was. It didn't even occur to me to think through that. But because I had the flexibility to do other things with the money, for whatever reason, that got me going, And you can't do that in an IRA. You can't necessarily do that in a 401k. But the first thing I would do is don't think of retirement as one targeted objective. Try to say, well, I'm saving money. Now, if I can get a tax advantage for retirement stuff, great. I'll use some of the money for that. If I can get a tax advantage because I ended up buying a house or started a business or whatever, awesome. That's fine. I've got that flexibility.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm going to go with the meat and potatoes one for a minute here.
Oh,
I want to throw a little something at you, but then I can bring back, multiple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about this for hours to teach on. But really, right this second, if you're starting to save for retirement, maybe you've already saved a lot, but you haven't really started to planning. High interest rates are a big deal right now, and if you're in your, let's say 20s, 30s, even 40s, you're probably owning a home. You possibly have a high interest rate.
Divorce.
And yeah, there's so many things that come into play. And
I always shock him. He's like, I was getting to something, man. Like
random ones. And so I built out high interest Iggy in our software. We actually we use here called Nest Egg, and want to just show you. Iggy's 33 years old. She's actually already started saving some. But she's, got her pre-retirement living expenses. You're really trying to figure out your budget, basically, in that. If you're thinking through your budget.
Iggy's young, too. That's pretty young.
Yeah, she's 33, high interest Iggy's Roth. She's, if she's maxing that out right this second, she's going to put $6,500 until retirement, 10% to her 401k, and she gets a 5% match there. So those are the two things she's doing. And she's making $100,000 a year. And so I'm building this out, some people may say, well, I only make, $40,000, $50,000. Like, you're crazy. I'm not in that situation. This is different for everybody. And I want to just show you an idea because retirement planning, you watch a video on YouTube and they're going to say, well, save this amount and do this or do this rule, or here's this rule you should follow at all times. And I want to show you that, it kind of all depends.
Yeah. Plus, don't ever, and not just us, but it could be anybody you're watching. Don't discount whatever the strategy or the opportunity is that they're focused on because the numbers don't line up to you. Because they're just showing, and I've seen a couple of these, some of our competitors out there, if you will. They'll show an example, and I'm like, well, you can tell what types of clients they have, But the sort of lesson there is still pretty thick and something to focus on. So.
Yep. And so retire at 60, $4,000 retirement expense, annual retirement healthcare cost is kind of the national average. So then let's look. She's already saved $100,000. She's was a smart saver from the start. She's got $60,000 in a 401k. She's making 100%, putting 10% in there, getting a 5% match. She's got a high interest. I'm reading her name, high interest Iggy. She's got a Roth IRA with $40,000 in it, and she's investing for growth. So she's got some growth there. But she bought a property. She's got a house. She's got a $300,000 mortgage that she has, 7.5% interest rate, and $2,098 a month payment, and then she has her property taxes and insurance there as well.
I see where this is going.
So,
this is a common question.
Yeah, and so if we look at this, I'm going to say, okay, she's got a 74% probability of success and potentially $1.6 million at the end of the plan.
Can we stop on that for a second?
Absolutely.
So 74% probability of success from grade school. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
She's in grade school, you're not good. Like you're average. In this scenario, so this is 74% is saying she has 74% of having potentially up to 1.7 million at death. You're trying to take 33 years to an average expectancy that we've built in here of 90 years old. I mean, 57 years of life and projected investment returns. That's like potentially throwing a dart. I mean, you can only average in things, build in the averages. So this is running 1,000 scenarios to give us this, but it's not that you're failing at this. Actually, if you're 33 and registering, 74% probability of success,
that's pretty good.
I'm like, wow, you're doing awesome.
So when a client asks me this and they're like, 74 doesn't sound very good, because it doesn't if you're used to the grade school type math, at least most of us. I think they've lowered the threshold now, like what's an A and a B and a C?
Yeah. Yeah, who knows what they're doing now.
No, but so the last part of planning for me whenever I'm working with somebody is I go back to that and I'll say, well, 74% chance of success. What's causing the weakness, right? Let's look back and see, was it that we, maybe because of when we chose to take Social Security, did we not factor in inflation at a high enough level? Where's the stress, right? And so that just pointing that out, that's not just a number that we would leave and say, well, close enough. I would go back and actually see, how are we coming to that? What's dinging us to get us down to 74%? Sorry,
yep.
I interrupted.
No, absolutely. And it allowed me to be able to update my numbers. So you did perfect. And so 74%, almost 1.7 million at retirement. And so a big question, basic retirement planning that people have, and really even going even more in depth on this is, should I pay more towards the mortgage or not? Yes. Or should I keep saving? And so, again, this is one scenario, but this one actually shocked me a bit. And I said, okay, well, if this person, high interest Iggy, says, I'm going to pay $500 extra towards my mortgage every single month and basically put it there, not save towards the...
Just put it to the house instead of
towards the Roth, right this second.
Yep.
Start saving in the Roth in 2040, which is projected to be when she would have her house paid for.
Okay.
So in 2040, she'd have her house paid for. She'd only have about 10 more years of saving for retirement, but she's going to take the Roth money, plus she's going to then put in $25,000 extra because that was the $2,098 a month payment.
Yep.
So she's throwing all of this towards now, hey, my house is paid for. Now I'm going to save for retirement even more.
So the goal was either A, she continues to save for retirement, or B, she focuses on paying off the house, then come back to retirement later, which in anything we've ever done, like generally kind of a no-no, right? You would say, you ever seen that thing where they're like, if from 25 to 35 you saved and then you stopped, you do better than if you started at 35.
Yep.
You're going to tell me something.
So 79%, 5% more probability of success. Though, in the end, I mean, it's not a massive difference, but you're talking, almost a couple $100,000 difference that she would have more by doing this strategy.
And when he says not a massive difference, that's That's then. A couple $100,000 more
and
then.
and yeah,
Today is a big
90
deal.
at 90.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, at 90, $200,000. So what you've got to realize though is you're basically securing so much because you don't have a payment that going into the retirement years. So it's saying, well, hey,
Yeah.
you're not carrying this extra needed income there. Though
she could handle it.
I will say with this scenario, because I was shocked at actually seeing this. I'm like, I was thinking it was going to come out ahead because the projected investment return's 8.2%. It's like, they always say if you have a higher investment return, then do that instead of pay on the interest.
Balance sheet math. I like it.
And so it's interesting to see this scenario, though I will say that I've seen this issue. You probably have as well. I've had so many clients want to do something just like this. We run the numbers and I say, maybe it comes out close. I mean, technically this is in planning, this is really close.
Yeah.
One way or the other, it's not going to make a massive difference. She's still going to retire and be good. But then what ends up happening is they elect to go and pay off the mortgage first. Then at 50, their mortgage is paid for. They're like, you know what? I just want to live a little now. I've been stressing, paying this stinking mortgage off this whole time. I've been driving this old beater car. I really need a car. And then they go buy a $100,000 vehicle and then they've got this, $1,400 payment there. There's always something that replaces and you end up not saving.
Yeah, I've been there.
And that concerns me.
Yep.
Because just because I show you a better number sometimes doesn't always mean it's the best scenario for you.
You still got to do it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to sleep at night knowing you chose that decision. You're going to go down that path. And one thing I would point out to the younger crowd is she's got $2,000 a month house payment?
$2,098.
Okay.
Not including taxes and insurance. That's separate.
So you think like, oh, I'm going to pay the extra towards this house, whatever. Just think back 5 years or ask your parents what their mortgage payment was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. As you get older, that 2,000 seems less significant, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
If life doesn't throw you some curveballs there. I remember the first place that me and my wife moved out to, it was $600 a month for rent, very, very first place. And the guy said, I'll give you $15 off if you pay within the first 3 days of the month. And we paid in the first 3 days every time. But it was $585 essentially. And now it's like, I'd kill for that. So as you get older, just keep that in mind. That 2,000, over time, it will become less of an issue, hopefully. But like he said, then you find yourself going, got some extra dollars here. Maybe I'll do something different with it. You got to have that discipline.
Yep.
And we can actually focus on that. We can watch you and see inside of Nest Egg, where's that money actually going on a monthly basis. I've had to pick on one guy in particular that I know of.
Yeah, you've got that, and then something else that really, when it comes to basic retirement planning and thinking through things, so many people on social media try to knock a 401k, and the 401k does have some awesome benefits if you focus on, okay, I'm going to get my match in my 401k to build for retirement, but not only that, if you don't set a specific dollar amount, say, well, I'm saving $500 a month to my 401k, instead you set it as percentage. So if you do 10% to your 401k, well then next year you get a 3% raise. Well, guess what? Now you're doing 10% with that raise.
Yeah. You're
always increasing the amount you're saving every single year to 10% of whatever your salary is versus it just being, oh, I'm only saving, $500 a month. It's a lot harder to make that adjustment. So thinking through little things like that are going to put you ahead long-term for that retirement that, you're wanting to get to eventually.
And the sort of last thing there would be, if you are using the 401k, the reason people knock it so much is because someone didn't pay attention in the beginning and they only use the 401k. So all your dollars are taxable in retirement.
Yeah.
That sucks, right? So people get to that point and you can't turn back the clock, blah, 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 right? So be thoughtful about when money goes into the Roth 401k versus the 401k, if that's the only thing you have available to you. Just takes an extra second. Just go through that plan or ask somebody. We're here at Jazz Wealth. The phones are always open. We have people standing by now, jazzwealth.com. Schedule a call and feel free to speak with them. Marketing, right?
According to unofficial resources, a new simplified income tax form contains only 4 lines. Number 1 is, what was your income for the year?
Yeah.
Number 2, what were your expenses? Number 3, how much you have left?
Okay.
Number 4, send that in.
Oh, so that was a joke. Yeah. I'm actually not in the mood for jokes today. I accidentally put Diesel in the Escort. He's dead. No, come on. I had to go back to the ones that I like. Oh, you ever worry too?
The car. That
The-
is
the car.
What's it, the Ford? It's not an Escort. What's this Ford?
It was an Escort.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they called it that, but. And the other thing is,
That one's cut.
no,
That one is
come on.
cut. 100%.
It's
that
not
one's cut.
mine. I didn't create them. I'm
It-
not sitting around drafting jokes.
You can't.
What? The location is irrelevant. I'm just saying. It's
I'm done with
how
you.
it goes.
I'm done with you.
I'm tired of the dad jokes. I can't do them, man. I can't. I had to at least try to go. That's why it seems so bad. Is because we were doing the dad jokes for a while, and then I snuck one of these in there, and you're like, "Whoa, that's really bad." But if I'd have kept doing the normal jokes, you'd have been like, "Yeah, you've had better, Dustin. Come on."
All right. Well, on that note, we probably just censored something out of here, out of this video. But thanks for watching.
Come
If you want
on.
to check us out, jazzwealth.com, we would be happy to help you. And have a good weekend.
Yeah, adios. Let's
Adios.
go hunt down an active shooter.